Well, it's February. This is Jim Adams, General Manager of Frank Fletcher, Twin and Joplin, and we're here with Travis Hurley from Water Gardens in our Seasons of Giving campaign 2023. This is kind of our third stop, Travis. So I got a couple questions for you. So in a nutshell, tell us what Water Gardens is in the Joplin community.
Absolutely. Water Gardens has been around. This is our 23rd year of serving those struggling with poverty and homelessness, and we exist to serve the church in that effort. And so much of what is done is by volunteers, but we have campuses where folks can come in off the street. We provide them a shelter for them overnight. Some stay longer. Average stay at our shelter is about 28 to 34 days. And with those folks, we set goals with them. And then we encourage them to go to our Worth Shop where they can work to earn whatever they need, so it breaks the cycle of dependency, reawakens a sense of dignity in them. And then we have long-term programs like Forge for men, and then a shelter, the Washington Family Hope Center for moms with kids.
So I remember during the George Bush Senior campaign, we talked about 1,000 points of light. And I think in the beginning, they talked about how do we change from kind of an institutional setting when it came to mental health to churches and community organizations, and that's kind of what Water Gardens reminds me of.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're 100% privately funded, and we believe that the best way to help somebody in need is to first get to know them,
right,
and establish a relationship with them. True poverty is not a lack of stuff; it's a lack of relationship, people around you who can come alongside you, and that's what we try to do.
It reminds me of a book by Dr. Ruby Payne, and she in the framework of poverty and education, and she was talking about it's, you know, we all have a skill set or a knowledge set based on our socioeconomic class, and you kind of need someone from the next rung to show you those unwritten rules.
That's right.
So one thing that we have here in Joplin, and it just doesn't seem like it's diminished a lot in the last 4 or 5 years, is we have a lot of you know, people on the street corners holding up signs, and you know, it tugs your heartstrings.
It does.
When you see someone there and they're holding up a sign, and you know, you want to help, but I've heard you say many times that, you know, giving somebody $5, $10, $20, something like that is not going to help solve the problem.
It's not. In fact, and here's the first thing I would say is those standing on a street corner are just a substrata of the overall population that we might call poor and homeless.
Right.
But within that substrata, studies have shown 9 out of 10 people on a street corner are feeding an addiction. I don't know if any of us who would hand somebody whatever that addiction is here, but when you hand money, that's what you're doing.
Okay.
And so we talk about there's a better way to give, and that's to give of yourself and to take the time to actually get to know them. And that's why we emphasize volunteering. Send them to an organization where you know they're going to get to know them, and then when you have time, come serve with us.
Right.
We have opportunities across all of our campuses.
Right.
Over, I think it's 9,000 hours a month.
Wow.
Are volunteered.
What's a daily population look like for you guys?
Daily population? Well, we've got 38 beds for men, and then another 10 for women, and then we have also a respite shelter, so folks coming out of the hospital that don't have a place to stay, maybe they can stay there before they would go into the general population.
Okay. Yeah.
And then that's just at our outreach center.
Right.
And then at the Forge Center for Virtue and Work, these are men in our long-term program, which that's where the resources are going to be applied to, are these guys that spend a year and a half with us, and they learn skills. They learn soft skills, they learn character traits, they learn what it means to be a contributing member of society. We have 21 guys that
oh, wow.
Yeah, in fact, we take in up to 6 every quarter, so as many as 24 can be in the program at a time.
That's fantastic.
Over the course of a year.
Yeah.
And then we have at Washington Family another it's a place where there's 6 family units, and each unit has room for a mom and up to 4 kids.
Wow.
So 30 people can be over at that place right now, and we're starting the construction this next week to renovate the upstairs to provide another 8 family units for moms.
Okay, so tell us about that one night, one bed.
Yes. Well, so we've crunched the numbers, and essentially it costs about $15 per night per bed across all of our campuses. And if you add them all up, it's 105 beds total. And so that means we need folks willing to give $15 a month, and then we need that for every single bed.
Right.
So that's a lot of, and we have a donor base of folks that do that.
Right.
So many people that are giving $15 a month, and they know for one night this month, I'm providing shelter for somebody.
That's fantastic.
At a place where they're getting to know them,
and
help them out of their situation.
Absolutely, because you know, poverty is a strange thing, and we've all been commanded to take care of the least of these. And I think the things you guys are doing at Water Garden is put in action towards and taking care of the least of these. Well,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
On
We don't
behalf
have it
of-
all figured out.
Yeah, you
We're
know,
working.
and the good news is there are other programs here in Joplin that, as George Bush Sr. said, that Herbert Walker, the 1,000 Points
Yeah,
of Life.
yeah.
There's programs like Aspire. There's programs like the Rock on at 15th and Main Street that is also working, and we've had the opportunity to work with them as well. And it certainly is our passion to be able to pull up to the corner of 7th and Range Line one day and know that there's no need for someone to stand out there with a
That's
paper
right.
sign, and
That's right.
And if there is somebody, there's somebody that's going to swoop in and kind of show them the way. 'Cause
Redirect them.
It really is more about moving somebody beyond their current situation and not just giving them a bed and giving them a meal. And
That's right.
and, yeah, and that's exciting.
Sometimes we get resigned to it. We think, well, the poor we're always going to have with us.
Right.
Okay, but
Right.
that doesn't mean this person is always going to be that poor.
That's right.
We can resolve that
That's
in their
right.
life.
It reminds me of a story Zig Ziglar told one time about sand dollars. He said, me and my grandson was walking along the beach, and there had been a big storm out, and it wrenched up thousands of sand dollars onto the beach. And,
Yeah.
and as the grandson and the grandfather walked down the beach, the grandpa would bend over and he'd pick up a sand dollar and throw it back in the ocean. They'd walk a little bit further and pick up
Yeah.
another and throw it back in the ocean. And the grandson said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, if these sand dollars should lay up here in the sun for too long, they're going to dry out and die. So I'm just going to pick one up and throw it back." And he goes, "But Grandpa,
Look at that.
there's thousands of them. I mean, what difference can you make?" And he picked one up and he goes, "Well, to this one,
Made
it
all
makes
the
all the
difference."
difference in the
That's
world."
exactly
That's
right.
right. So to this one here at Water Gardens, you're making all the difference in the world. So on behalf of the Greater Kansas City Toyota Dealers Association and Frank Fletcher Toyota, we'd like to present you this check for $5,475
Thank
for
you.
one night, one bed for this year.
Yes.
And I can say personally, we are very excited about being a part of this program every single year.
Jim, thank
Travis,
you so
thank you very much.
Greatly appreciate
And
it.
on behalf of Frank Fletcher Toyota, Frank and Chris Fletcher, the Greater Toyota Kansas City Dealers Association, we'd like to thank Water Gardens for being our partner in our Season of Giving campaign 2023.